What I have been trying to put my finger on for like 20 years is what is it about Twilight, the novel Twilight. It's about the pages of those books that makes them so addictive, that draws us in, that makes us feral, that makes us break with reality in my own particular case. There's an infamous clip of Robert Pattinson on his first press junket for Twilight saying that Stephenie Meyer is crazy. If you haven't seen it, I'll show it to you right now.
When I read it, it seemed like I was convinced that Stephenie was convinced she was Bella, it wasn't. It was like it was a book that wasn't supposed to be published, and you're like reading her sort of sexual fantasy about and especially when she says, "Oh, it was based on a dream," and it's like, "Oh, I had this dream about this really sexy guy," and she just writes this book about it, and like some things about Edward are so specific, and it's like I was just convinced that it's like this woman is mad. She's completely mad, and she's in love with her own fictional creation.
So there are many things that are incredible about the video. The first being that he has, at 21 years old, has just like completely clocked Stephenie Meyer in a way that I don't think a lot of us did at the time. What he says in that video is true, in that Stephenie Meyer, I believe, and she has kind of confessed to this, did fall in love with her fictional creation. Okay, she had a dream where she kind of stared down at this meadow and she saw this teenage girl and this vampire who was sparkling who was like a prism, and she wanted to know what happened with them. I do not believe it was an explicit fantasy, but what happened is she fell in love with Edward. Does that make her mad, as Robert says? I don't know, but what it did make was something raw, so raw that Stephenie was Bella. She's more than a self-insert. She's in love with Edward. We all could fall in love with him too. And not just him or Jacob or whoever it was, but fall in love with the idea that there could be more outside of us, that we could somehow be rescued from the banal trappings of our lives. And there are many books like this. Like most young adult supernatural books are like this. But Stephenie, like it does have like almost like a diary element. Like Bella's feeling something so visceral because I think Stephenie might be feeling it too, and thus we feel it. So did Rob kind of drag her there? Yeah, but also it's why it's good. It's why it's so incredible. Also, buy my book.